Hello and welcome to another episode of a Wicked Parley. Tonight we're going to be talking about holiday culture.
Holidays.
But before we
coming up.
yes, but before we get all into that, I first want to make sure everyone is aware of the fact that there will not be a Wednesday live stream next week and probably not for a long time, if ever. Instead, there will be pre-recorded content. Yay! They're shorter. You know, they're a little bit more engaging. Hopefully you guys will be able to talk to us on Discord if you like it or hate it, or leave it in the comment section of the videos. I believe the first episode that's going to be airing will be airing on a Thursday.
Yes.
And the thing about...
And notes will be made on the Twitter or Discord if that happens to change. We're going to aim for Thursday, though.
Yeah, aim for Thursday. Yeah, it's going to be a lot shorter than normal episodes. It'll be like 10 minutes long. So,
yeah, 10, 12 minutes at the moment.
Yeah. And, I just want to point out a couple other things, too. Although you may not be a shocked audience, but I'm a huge fan of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and Joe Rogan himself as a human being. And I absolutely fucking hate the fact that they're trying to cancel him. The fact that Spotify has, ripped, 70 plus episodes from his catalog is wrong. So definitely, if you guys can get a chance to do something about that, say something, make a stink in Twitter or wherever the hell you want, do so. Spread the word, because it's important that people have the ability to ask questions, and the Joe Rogan podcast is a great platform to be able to just kind of generically ask questions about things. He doesn't know anything. His guests can be sometimes controversial, but I think it's important that everybody support people who are just trying to understand the world. And the idea of canceling someone because of that is just fucking wrong. All right. Anyways, I'm going to get off my, my stool of sorts. Let's go ahead and talk about holiday culture, shall we? Yeah. Now, the first thing that I think it's important to discuss when it comes to holiday culture is, why the fuck does anyone celebrate holidays to begin with, right? What's important about holidays? Well, there's a couple things. The first thing that matters when it comes to typically a holiday is that usually it's the end of some sort of thing that's recognized in each culture. Typically holidays end usually around harvest points, or they begin around harvest points. And so you typically see a lot of cultures have diverse ways of celebrating certain things that are linked to harvests. Another thing that you typically find often when it comes to holidays is that there are cultural traditions that are propagated by religious beliefs and religious systems that often... Hey! Wait a minute. Oh my gosh. No. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. All right. Yes, holiday. Anyways, so holiday religious beliefs often take in other cultures and try to, intertwine them into it. And so you can often find situations where, a different group, a different culture practicing different things comes in contact with another more, let's say, prolific religious sect, perhaps. And then they try to integrate those people. And one of the ways in which they can integrate is often by adapting their traditions to suit their own. And one of the greatest examples of all time of any of this ever happening is, of course, with the pagan, peoples being intertwined into the Catholic and Christian faiths. Whichever one you want to kind of rope to in that particular thing. And the movement of Christ's birthday from July to December. And, of course, the whole thing of Christmas and everything else surrounding it. So, I would definitely say those are all things that are important, right? Okay, so, one of the main, I think, super issues associated with this particular thing, obviously, is the fact that, every region of the world is going to have its own culture develop, which basically means you run into a scenario where there are people, there are holidays. Now, that basically translates into every day, somewhere on the planet, somebody's celebrating a holiday. So, if you want to truly capitalize and game the system, and you're like, hey, I don't really want to work that hard, you can tell your boss that it's this holiday and that you're observing your religious right to abstain from super hard labor because it's a certain holiday. And if you are...
Yes, it's vacation time.
And if you're a particularly ingenious person, you could probably string this along for a pretty long time. I mean, there's a lot of holidays. Okay, all right. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the next section that I think is kind of important, which is, how do people view holidays? And, what exactly are they specifically celebrating? Now, that, of course, is going to be completely contingent upon the region. It's going to be completely contingent on a whole bunch of things directly related to and associated with the particular group we're trying to take a look at. So, with that being said, I'm not going to go over every single part of the world because obviously we don't have that time. And frankly speaking, I don't think anyone gives a shit. So, let's jump into the things that I think, are experienced pretty commonly in the United States. And that's just because it's what I directly, interact with and see regularly. So, we're going to talk about things like Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about things like St. Patrick's Day. We're going to talk about things like 4th of July. We're going to talk about Christmas. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about Halloween. So, let's start with the one that's happening the soonest, or just happened, technically speaking. And that is technically what, the Chinese Lunar New Year, right? Oh my god. Yeah, and it's the year of the tiger, folks. It's the year of the tiger. So, you know what this means. All right. And, Rose actually knows a great deal about the Chinese New Year because, shocking, she partakes in that. So, Rose, what can you tell us about the Chinese New Year?
Yeah, I can do my absolute best here.
Okay.
So, Chinese Lunar New Year follows the lunar calendar, doesn't follow the normal calendar. It goes with the phases, which means it actually changes from year to year.
And also, let me pause you for 1 second. When you say phases, do you mean like phases of the moon?
Yes,
okay.
Lunar phases.
All right, excellent.
So that means it actually changes from year to year, and it usually ranges between late January and early February. So there's a lot of traditions, including festivals, lion dances, visiting shrines, and praying to your ancestors, and more party-looking things like with the hazelnuts going on the screen.
Okay.
And like usual with some traditions, there are some superstitions which are kind of funny to me.
Okay, let's find out. What are some of the crazier superstitions linked to that particular holiday?
So I don't know if you would consider them crazy. These ones that I'm about to list are the ones in my family.
Okay, so they're strange.
Fair enough. I'm a strange person, so why not?
Mysterious and strange.
Yeah. So one of them is that I'm not supposed to wash my hair the day of Chinese Lunar New Year, which this year was February 1st. The superstition is that if you wash your hair, you're going to wash away the good luck that settles on top of your head throughout the day.
But could you make the argument that your shampoo and conditioner coat your hair so that way you're better able to capture that luck?
I'm not quite sure. You'd have to talk to the one who told me about that superstition.
Who told you about that superstition?
My parents.
So you're saying I have to go talk to your mom? I could do that. I can do that.
Whether you can take care of anything is another story.
Oh, I'm not going to convince her of anything. I'm gonna plant that little seed and just kind of watch the tree grow.
But another one is to drive a certain direction. For instance, this year my mother told me to drive southward.
Drive south. So why?
It's also some superstition dealing with good luck, specifically chasing it.
So you're not running from bad luck, you're chasing down good luck?
You're chasing down good luck, yeah.
And how long do you have to travel this direction for?
You don't have to do it for long. My mother is very superstitious, so she'd drive us for like half an hour at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I only kind of did it for like 5 minutes, and it was purely by accident because I didn't know which direction until like she told me a couple days after.
So we get this straight. So like you're explaining why, for whatever reason, during January and February, there's an increased level of traffic accidents due to Asians driving in crazy directions because they're trying to chase luck.
That happens to be the reason. Okay.
I'm gonna say this now. Like I've lived in a very, heavy Asian population area for like several years, and I have tended to notice that like during the months of January and February, there seems to be crazy fucking people that come out sometimes, and often the crazy drivers either driving Lexuses or BMWs or they're Asian.
So those are a couple.
Or both.
Another one is one of the things that Chinese Lunar New Year is most known for is the red envelopes.
Oh, this is the money one.
Which is kind of, yes, you have red envelopes filled with money, anywhere ranging between $1 to $100, which the adults typically give to the children.
Typically.
Occasionally, young adults will still get them if the, like, older adults are essentially, like, much older. So, like, grandparents can still give you a red envelope even if you're in your, like, 20s or, like, even approaching 30s.
Interesting. So, at what point does the tide turn the other way?
When you have a kid who's able to actually do something with the money.
Oh, so you're saying that basically Chinese culture incentivizes not having children.
I don't know. I don't know. It depends on how people feel about money. Like some, you always get those people that are really frugal with their money, and then people who just kind of throw it at people.
Yeah, I'm definitely the latter in that situation.
That's definitely how you get polite fights. Goodness gracious.
Oh, yes. Okay, all right. So that's an interesting look at some Chinese culture, and thank you for sharing those interesting points. I definitely would not have expected all of that. There was some stuff that I kind of figured. I think I'm really intrigued by the driving thing, and now I'm going to be looking at like some statistics. I'm just like, I'm gonna like this thing.
It's like, oh dear.
It's like
done?
You were chasing luck, and you were just too slow. That's why you got in that collision.
Jacket, oh my goodness.
Okay, well, so Jacket reads, I got food the other night. Ordered number 44, page 4, got food at 7:43, got home with 444 on the pedometer, almost crashed twice. Jacket, are you Asian? Do I need to know?
That is pretty bad luck for Asian culture.
Wow. Okay. I mean, here's the thing. You almost crashed twice. So, depending on how you look at that, that's either insanely good luck or insanely bad luck. And considering the fours, I tend to believe bad luck that's not exactly lucky. But then at the same time, I mean,
Barely avoided it.
Yeah, I mean, like you got that 743 working there for you,
You got the 7 and the 3.
Yeah,
you just slightly avoided.
Yeah, just a little bit. You're good.
If you got it at 444, that'd be even worse for you.
See, I actually think that's a great number. Like, I mean, like
it's a good looking number until you get to the whole death scenario. But
I'm gonna say that right now. Sweet release. Sweet release.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Hey,
so
another person's bad luck is another person's good luck. Like another person's trash. Wait, what the hell? Dassy Chat. Hey, Dassy Chat. It's nice to see you.
Hey, Dassy. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Oh my gosh.
All right. So,
That's
what I.
Oh man. Jeez.
That's what I know about Chinese Lunar New Year.
Excellent stuff. All right, let's get on to the next section, shall we? So let's talk about good old Santa Claus.
Oh, the saints.
Yeah, and now, just in case you guys, were shocked, because I mean, I know right now I'm in my sexy bear form, but when I'm on camera, I'm actually quite white. But secretly, my white facade is really just, there's Native American blood coursing through my veins. Anyway,
chilling on the beach.
Oh man, that's a great picture of Santa Claus. That is exactly how I imagine December 26 looks.
Just immediately head off to the beach.
Yeah, he's in Hawaii, he's in Cancun, he's somewhere, Yeah. So, I mean, like all these images of Santa Claus, we can just basically call it all just, cultural appropriation on part of the wonderful Coca-Cola company, really wanting to sell those sodas to us by promoting a nice, wonderful, jolly fat man.
Jolly fat.
Behold the jolly fat man. Apparently that's what will sell sodas. Anyways, so...
in comparison to, well...
I mean, alright, anyways. Yeah, in comparison to the actual Saint Nicholas, who really did help out children and the poor, and he gave gifts and things like that. So, yeah, like those are definitely things that, for sure, are good acts and noble deeds. And then here comes Coca-Cola trying to capitalize on the mythos of Saint Nicholas, and here we get Santa Claus. And because, Americans are, for the most part, I agree with, by the way, Death Chat definitely could look like Guam. I could see that. That definitely seems like it's possible. But I definitely think that we see a situation where, the Coca-Cola company capitalizes on an idea. The American culture latches on to that particular ad campaign and indoctrinates it into society, and it grows to become its own entity that constantly is evolving and changing. If you are at all interested in the information based around St. Nicholas, it's posted in the chat. It has the Wikipedia has an excellent detailed amount of information pertaining to the things that are related to St. Nicholas, and I'd highly encourage anybody who has the time to click the link and read through, but only after tonight's episode. Otherwise, pay attention to us, please, and also don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button on your way in. Definitely help us out. And tell us about it. Tell the show about to your friends and other people, and perhaps your frenemies and your pets, and anybody because anybody who can click is somebody I want. Anyway, so
right.
Back to Santa Claus. So in addition to completely shaping the way in which Santa Claus was created based on corporations, you have a whole mythos built up around it. And if you really dig deep into this, you start to realize that the reason why the culture, at least in the Americas and to some extent in some parts of Europe, really latched onto this whole idea was because their lives were really hard, and there was a lot of bad things going on during those time periods in those kind of parts of the world. And so having a symbol of hope and having a symbol of charitableness was something that was really necessary and kind of beloved. And so it got intertwined with the religious teachings alongside the cultural identity of the people back then, which really aimed to promote Santa Claus into becoming something that was enshrined in the mythos of at least the American people, and if not the world. And through the promotional ad campaigns of Coca-Cola and several other corporations, primarily Macy's, you used to see this juggernaut, and it just became here to stay. And so I think that if you look at other cultures and you look at the way in which other cultures take similar figures from history and they co-opt them and they use them in a certain way to promote a certain ideology, you really find that a lot of places have similar themes. And if they're not similar themes to the exact beats, the overall message is the same. Now, the next person we're going to kind of dive into a little bit here is St. Valentine. Now, while Coca-Cola and Macy's definitely did something with Santa Claus that was good, St. Valentine is a little bit of a different story. So, a lot of people, have this idea that around the 1950s, Hershey's and some of the other major chocolate manufacturers in the world, primarily in the United States and Europe, but those guys got together and decided that, hey, we're going to use St. Valentine and create a holiday of love, and we're going to use St. Valentine as a symbol with some of the other Greek mythos like Cupids and things like that to generate this whole idea of love and bringing people together, and then all of a sudden, you know, they can move and sell their chocolate super fast. And I'm not going to say that's entirely wrong, because obviously you walk into Walgreens or Walmart or Target.
Walk into any big store that sells candy.
Yeah, you get overflowed with just all kinds of sugary treats every single time there's going to be a holiday, even remotely close. You know, I don't know how many times I've walked in, like, in September and there's, like, Halloween candy out in a Walmart. Or, like, the moment that Halloween is gone, now Christmas stuff is up. It's not even, like, Thanksgiving yet, and there's Christmas stuff. Yeah. So it's just ridiculous. And then, like, as soon as Christmas is over, suddenly Valentine's Day stuff appears. You know, it's like, it's never ending. And then Easter, and then, like, you get all this other stuff. And some stores will do...
I've already seen Easter candy.
Oh, yeah, see, that's just disgusting. It's February! It's
I know,
February!
I saw Easter eggs.
I mean,
I'm like, what?
were there the Reese's Easter eggs? You know, the white, you know, like the good ones? Like, you know, like the... Because if there were, because, you know, I mean, this bear can be bribed. Okay. All right. Anyways, so Saint Valentine definitely was more or less co-opted and used as an instrument to generate, I believe, to be a fake holiday, which is Valentine's Day. And the interesting about that is, the interesting, like, clear thing about it is that, so you don't just run into the fact that Valentine's Day thing exists, but then you get, like, the Americans who came to Japan, you know, after World War II, and really just put forth this idea of Valentine's Day into their culture, and then it changed and grew into two different distinct holidays, a black and white day, which is fascinating because it showcases just how easy one culture can be manipulated and influenced by another, and how a holiday that is basically super fake can be created and then put forth in a way that the other culture can't directly connect the dots. And if you think about how long it takes for this to happen, it was one generation, folks. Like, it was one generation. That's all it took. So
just takes one.
It just takes one. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's links for Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus, Saint Valentine's Day, Saint Valentine, and we also have one for Saint Patrick, for Saint Patrick's Day, which are all, you know, these saints were actually real people who did things to actually help out human causes. I would strongly encourage you to look into these particular things, because you'll find a whole bunch of interesting things about figures that if you've ever had a green shirt, or you ever used any time to buy a wonderful, you know, stuffed animal or candy for a loved one, or have ever opened a present on Christmas Day, you should definitely, you know, take the time to just read through the Wikipedia on these three figures at the very least, because they're at least a pretty big hallmark in American culture today. Pretty big. Okay, so I kind of want to go past all these particular talking points, and I kind of want to talk about how, you know, yeah. But before I even do all that, I want to say one thing. Jacket, you're 100% right about Japan and KFC. So, like, one thing that a lot of people don't know about Japan that I was surprised to find out was that Christmas isn't really celebrated as an actual holiday. It's seen as more like a really fancy time to have, like, a date night and a / pseudo Thanksgiving kind of like vibe. And often in Japan, if they actually get KFC, like, for Christmas, and in many places you have to order your KFC months in advance to get it on that day because of how busy it is. Yeah, like, honestly, like, I one of the things I really want to try when I go to Japan is I want to go to a KFC and just see if there's an actual legit difference. You know, I feel like there has to be, because like
there certainly is in their Starbucks.
Yeah, like I've seen some serious differences between like things online. Like, there was a guy who went to Japan, and he went to all the fast food places, and he had like a comparison of like photos and tastes and like what he felt like for multiple food items from like a McDonald's. I think he went to KFC. He went to, I want to say, a Pizza Hut. There was a few other places, right? And he basically evaluated it. Now, I know what, I'm getting off the rails here. I'm going to focus back on the thing, but just know that, like, we'll throw that in the link or something like that later, if anyone cares. Actually, you know what? Join our Discord. Dassy Chat, you should join our Discord. It's awesome. Host, if you're here, low key jacket. I will respond to your post later tonight. But yeah, so it has a history and a lie told in an interview.
Oh my.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I want to say it's something to do with KFC Christmas, but I don't know 100%.
Shall we?
Tell me if I'm right or wrong or not in the chat. Anyways, so back to what I was saying before though. So like there's the whole Japanese culture thing and the whole idea that essentially in Japan, the day of Christmas is a date night. It's not like how it is over here in the West, and that was interesting to me. And one of the things that I thought was kind of like crazy was the fact that like we have so much cultural appropriation that happens during holidays. I mean, although it's not necessarily linked directly to a holiday in Japan, which is the whole cosplay sort of stuff and the embracement of Japanese culture. But like certainly like cosplay is taken to some extent in around Halloween for us. You could definitely say dressing up in costumes and things like that is something that's celebrated. Well, in Japan, it's okay to dress up in, characters and things like that for conventions, and in some cases, just your everyday dude just walking around like dressing up like Sailor Moon. I could argue that sometimes when people partake in those kinds of things, they're celebrating a bit of a holiday of sorts, and in that way, it's kind of unique for them. Please get that picture off the screen. I don't want to. I'm tired of seeing hairy legs and big ass fucking package on a dude. Okay, come on now. Why did we do this to me? Why? It's horrible.
It was on the list.
It's on the list. My God. No. Man fan.
Here. Why don't we just go ahead?
Yeah, give me some soothing. Let me give you some soothing. Like a little clip real quick of some Cherry Blossom Festival. So that way people can get kind of like an idea. Look how pretty it is. All those cherry blossoms, people like having picnics and stuff. I mean, look at these people. It's been going on for thousands of years. And look at the girl with a shy little thing on the face, that every anime ever has shown. See, it even happens in the drawings. Like from thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago. Situation. But yeah, isn't that pretty? It's a great time. But yeah, so we got that going on. All right. Anyways, so next thing is actually show it at night. I think that the night one's also pretty good. Night's always great. Okay, and so if I remember correctly, there was an interview about what Americans' traditional Christmas meal is, and the guy said KFC in the moment. Its popularity took off, and he admitted that he lied years later. Really? That's the origin of that stuff? That's crazy.
That's funky.
So see, what I was told was, and I could be, maybe both are right. Yeah, maybe both are right. Was that there was essentially U.S. service guys who came over during the 70s and 80s, and they couldn't find anything to eat for Thanksgiving, and that they basically started having KFC. And then the service guys kind of like, they were influenced by the people they were surrounded with, of course, who were Japanese, and that's kind of how that tradition kind of got picked up. That's the story I heard. Now, whether or not that's the accurate one and what Dasty Chat put in there is correct, I don't know. I something kind of tells me that both are probably right. just considering how in Japan TV interviews are extremely influential, way more than they are in almost any other part of the world that I've ever seen that has that kind of stuff. So. Yeah. So it would not shock me if that was real. Yeah, and KFC got free advertising. Yeah, heck yeah.
Free advertising. Woohoo!
Yeah, free advertising. Look at that. Seems legit. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Right. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to be discussing is, of course, we're going to go over a few small little tidbits of little things about having to do with what exactly goes into holidays itself. So, if every culture has their own individual holiday, right? And every single culture obviously is going to have its individual meanings, but there's got to be some level of commonality across the board, as I kind of hinted at the beginning of the episode. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that the main thing that a lot of holidays typically run into is they typically showcase some sort of like thing where it brings people together. It usually intertwines religious practices. It accepts cultural values and promotes cultural values, and has some sort of celebration for some level of hard work that's done in the community. So I have a question for the chat, for the comment section if you're watching this in the future. What is the most influential holiday that you have ever partaken in? And what happened to make it the most influential? That's what I'm going to leave with you guys. Briefly, real quick, I'm going to reiterate two things. First thing, there's a Discord. Please join. You can reach us anytime. You can ask us questions directly. If you have suggestions for future episodes, then leave them there. If you'd like to pose a question directly to us and you'd like to get it actually responded in a way that is detailed, great way to send it. I am in there. I do look at it regularly, not every single moment of every day. If you really want to get a hold of me, you can send an email. But considering that's not exactly the most favorable thing, you guys don't like to do that. The Discord is easy. It's fun. People come in, they say stuff. It's great. Come join.
Yep.
It's 100%. I moderate it. Rose moderates it. As long as no one's going in there and just being totally crazy, then I don't care what anyone says. Okay, like it's going to be a free speech area. I don't care if someone says something they don't like, then they don't like it. But if it's like just based in information and not bigotry, then it stays. That's my kind of like my viewpoint when it comes to it. There will be pre-recorded episodes appearing Thursdays. The time is not exactly fixed yet, but I think we're going to try and shoot for a release around noon. So you'll have pretty much noon and all of the whole, all of time to watch it. The first episode is going to be discussing trans women in sports. So it's going to might be slightly controversial. I hope that you guys, if you guys have any feedback, you can come talk to us in the Discord about it. Leave a comment in that particular video, or, pop in during the live streams, which will still be on Saturdays. Don't worry, you'll still be able to talk to us in here. Yeah, hopefully that'll kind of wrap things up, I think. Okay, cool. We put a little bow on it. Great. And if you guys are interested in watching or learning how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Tomorrow on Sunday, I'm going to be going over Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, the way to rig the system, where you can basically build any deck you want for 2 hours and 15 minutes of play. Build any deck, climb the ladder, get your free stuff, and it's freaking awesome. So hopefully you'll come check us out on tomorrow. Yeah, on Twitch. So, with that being said, have yourself a fantastic night, you beautiful people. I'll see you in the next one. Later.